right, guys, welcome back to the BlastCast. Your look into everything that's Baltimore Blast soccer. Look, we have a very, very special show for you this week where we're going to talk to the two newest inductees to the Baltimore Blast Hall of Fame. So this is going to be really, really exciting show. You guys are really, really going to love it. We're going to talk to two guys that, if you've been around for a little while, you're going to know who they are as soon as we get to them here in just a minute. But as I always do here, right, just a few reminders. The big one, Blast Spring Classic, fast approaching, okay? Saturday, March 23rd, 11 o'clock, all right? Time change from earlier in the season, 11 a.m. We will be taking on the Dallas Sidekicks. You do not want to miss out on history here, right? We're going to take the indoor field, put it outside on Johnny Unitas Stadium and play an indoor soccer match. So really, really exciting times. You don't want to miss that. And look, general admission tickets, only $15, guys. $15 gets you into the match, and you can witness history here in Baltimore. So again, the normal avenues to get tickets, you can call the office. You can go on BaltimoreBlast.com, download our app on your devices. There's a ticket section there. Or you can go to Ticketmaster.com and order them on there as well. So again, fast approaching March 23rd, Blast Spring Classic. Don't want to miss that. All right, guys. So with that out of the way, let's get into why we're here, right? We are here to announce the latest inductees into the Baltimore Blast Hall of Fame. So let's please welcome goalkeeper Scott Hileman and defender Billy Nelson. Guys, welcome. First off, guys, congratulations, right? Both of you being the latest inductees into the Blast Hall of Fame. So first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks. Happy to. It was a fun call, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to get into that here in just a minute. But kind of before we get into some of the history and stuff with you guys, I just wanted to kind of update the fans on what you guys are up to. So, Scott, maybe we'll start with you. What's kind of going on nowadays? Where you're living and all that good stuff.
Yeah, now I'm living in Tampa, Florida. Ever since I finished up in 2004, this is where I moved. So, and I got involved in a real estate career at that point. Now I'm doing some development stuff down here. And watching my kids play and just having a good time being a dad.
That's great. Tampa, beautiful area. Love that. Love Tampa area. Love Tampa area. Billy, how about you? What's going on with you lately?
I live in Cecil County up in Northeast, so not like Florida weather, but it'll do for now, I guess. Hopefully one day I'll be able to retire in Florida. But I've been working for a staffing agency. I'm a branch manager for first team staffing in Aberdeen.
Okay.
So I've been there roughly 11 years.
Fantastic. So we got one of the guys down in nice sunny Florida and then a local guy here in Cecil County. That's great to hear you guys, career and passions have moved on since playing the game. But look, let's get into why we're here talking tonight, right? So again, two new inductees into the Blast Hall of Fame. Again, amazing accomplishment. Billy, I'll start with you. What was your reaction when you got the news?
I was certainly surprised. Ed, I don't hear from Ed too often. So when Mark told me he wanted to call me, I didn't know what it was about. I was at work when he called me, so we talked for a good while, about 45 minutes or so, and just kind of reminiscing, about the good old days and the championships that we won. And it was an honoring phone call to be classified as one of the Blast greats, to be put on that banner with everyone else. And a lot of those guys me and Scott were able to play with for the most part.
Right.
So it was definitely an honor.
Great. Yeah. Scott, same question to you. I'm sure you don't hear from Ed Hale too often these days. What was your reaction like when you received the news?
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing as Billy said. I was on a work trip and just got out of the shower and saw a missed call from Ed Hale, and then a text that said, "Hey Scott, give me a call." It's Ed Hale. So I didn't know if he wanted me to try to suit up on the weekend, but so I talked to him, and it was it's always good. I mean, he's a real good guy. I mean, more than anything, for me, he always treated me with respect, and I always loved playing for the guy. So first of all, it was just good to catch up with him, and then when he told me that they were going to put me in the Hall of Fame, it's it, it feels good to be recognized. Like Billy said, there's some great names that are already up there. A lot of them are guys that we played with, good friends of mine, and it really made me feel proud.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a special phone call for both of you guys. So what I want to do now, I just want to get into some of the highlights of your guys' careers. Okay. So Scott, I want to start with you just so kind of everyone knows, the fantastic career you had here in Baltimore, right? So 6 seasons with the Blast, right? 98 to 04, 183 games played, 99 wins, a 5.71 goals against average, over 2,600 saves in that time, 73% save percentage. Let's see here, 2000 second team all league, 3-time all-star selection, 420 win seasons, 10 playoff wins, 2-time champion with the Blast in 03 and 04. And then I think, one of the, and you tell me if I'm wrong, one of the kind of your greatest accomplishments there, right? You were the 2004 playoff MVP. So that's quite a resume. When you look back on your time during those fantastic times of the Blast, is there anything that really stands out to you? Maybe one moment or a few moments that just really stick in your mind?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of moments that stick in my mind. I mean, I think that playing in Baltimore, where you have a knowledgeable crowd about the game coming to watch you every day. One, that's fun to do. That's enjoyable to come out and play for those. And then you play your 40, 44 game seasons and games in a season, and then you get to the playoffs, and that's when it's really for the players. That's when you want to compete and you want to win. And when I came up from Fort Lauderdale and kind of had some options, and when I talked with Kevin Healy and Ed Hale at the time, they said, "Hey, the goal is to win a championship." And for me, the two things that stand out the most is when we won those two championships in 03 and 04.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the teams kind of there in the mid 2000s. There were some just dynamic teams. What do you remember most about that 2004 playoff series?
I thought we were the best team. I mean, I thought we played Milwaukee in the finals, and we went up there to there, and I think they had us down, and then we came back, and I still remember some of the goals. I remember Alan Eller, bless him, he comes out of the box, and I find him, and he goes off the boards to himself and scores, and I mean, I remember that series specifically, the Milwaukee series, and it's just a credit to our team, credit to the organization. I think they made it a priority to bring in the best players they can. And it wasn't like as a player on that team, you're complaining about the front office not doing their job or that they're not wanting to win, because we had the support of our front office, and they were bringing the players, and they wanted to win. And for me to play for an organization like that was an honor.
Yeah, that was a fantastic series, right? We had Milwaukee in the final. I believe we swept them in the final to win the championship. So, yeah, great championship there in 04. So, Billy, I kind of want to shift to you now. Just some statistical stuff for you, so everyone knows kind of your fantastic career, right? So, 10 seasons with the Blast, right? 01 to 2011, 292 games played, 48 goals, 41 assists. You had 6 game-winning goals over that time. And this is a defender, by the way, remember, everyone. Recorded 300 blocks, 2001, 2002 Rookie of the Year. And you were a 5-time champion with Baltimore, 03, 04, 06, 08, 09. Wow. So kind of the same question to you, Billy. Does anything kind of stand out to you, in your mind as special moments?
I mean, I think anytime you win a championship, it's always special. I think you look at the team that we had assembled. Well, not we, but our office assembled, like Scott said, and I think after the first title that we won, that was probably the most epic and memorable moment for probably most of us when we were down 12-3 and came back and won 13-12. That was probably the most special moment, I think, for us. I think the next few years after that, we felt from top to bottom we were the best team in the league. We had the best forwards, we had the best defenders and midfielders who could score in bunches. So, and not to mention our goalies kept us in every game. And I think when we got to the finals in 04, we stepped on the field every game thinking we were just gonna, win every game without losing. So, I think that we took pride in stepping onto that field and gave everything we had when it came playoff time, and we knew what we had to do to win it.
So a question for both of you guys, because I know you both played in this era, and this is a topic that's come up every once in a while here, even recently in today's game. You guys played in that multi-point scoring era. What is your thoughts on that? You guys multi-point scoring guys, or are you traditional guys?
I mean, I thought that I scored the last 3-point goal in the history of indoor soccer. So, it's kind of taken back when they brought it back a couple years later. But, I mean, I think you can look at it both ways. If you're down by a few goals and you hit a 3, you're back in the game. I can go either way on it. I was always the traditional guy, but then I think once they changed the ruling, with our league, and it just made it a creative way, I think, to play. And you had to be, strategic with some of your plays. If you were down by a certain amount of goals late in the game, you got guys like Giannoni and Reinecker hitting threes, or trying to hit threes to tie the game, late. So it was, it was a different change. So there was definitely a different way to attack it and defend it all at the same time.
Yeah. Me, I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, as a goalkeeper, you get banged a couple of threes on you. You want to dig a hole and crawl out of the stadium. But I mean, I did like the 1 point. I liked the shootouts. For me, I thought that was fun. I thought it was exciting for the fans, and really with the 3-point goals, you're never really out of it. And I think I look back and Ronnie Simmons coming up and looking back at me to see if the wall was misaligned so we could come bend one around with the outside of his foot. I thought it was fun. And I mean, I thought it was a better spectating environment for the fans to have that kind of multiple scoring system.
All right. Yeah, it's a controversial topic that still, again, to this day is kind of talked about. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion in there because you were kind of in the thick of it there in those days back then. So moving forward here, guys. So look, we know the Blast franchise, right? Legacy franchise goes all the way back to 1980. We've continued the tradition, all the way through to here we are in 2024. 10 championships. I'll start with Scott here. During your playing time, who are the guys you kind of looked up to or kind of leaned on in the indoor game?
I mean, that's a good question. For me, as a goalkeeper, I mean, there were times when I remember being at an All-Star game in St. Louis and Scott Manning pulls me aside and says, "Hey, and just kind of gave me a couple things, and me knowing the Scott Manning, Keith Van Aaron days from Baltimore, and seeing, CV Chris Vaccaro's name up on the crossbar every night when I played at home. For me, there was already a goalkeeping legacy there that I felt like I had big shoes to fill. So that I looked up to. And then also, I mean, to be honest, I always tried to learn. Brett Phillips came in. We had a couple times we were together, and I remember him, doing things where I'm learning from him. We're pretty much the same age. And, he might have got in the league a year or two before me, but he was a guy who had won before, and I saw him doing things like, just for example, like he would block outside the box. He would come out and challenge the one-on-ones outside the box. I was like, I'd seen it before, but I was like, this guy's cutting angles so far. He doesn't care if he knows he's not going to use his hands. Right. So I learned from that. Even competitors, Pete Pappas would hit the ball with the outside of his foot all the time. And I was always taught, no, you got to use both feet. And I said, he's doing it. So then I tried to adapt that and pick that up in my game. So I think the guys I looked up to were both people before me and like guys that I was playing with and against.
Yeah, you named some great names there. I don't know if you can see it in my screen, but I have a picture right there. That's me and Sepp Gettenhammer and Chris Vaccaro, my two.
That's awesome.
My two legends from Baltimore goalkeepers there. So you were in some great company there. Billy, kind of same question to you. Look, I know you're a local guy, right? You're a Bel Air guy, UMBC guy. Same question for you. Who are the kind of the guys you looked up to or leaned on?
I think when I came in, I think Sean Bowers, Lance Johnson, Jason Dieter, a lot of those guys, were veterans at the time, and myself coming in, I wanted to stay after practice and I wanted to learn. I needed to learn angles. Before every game, they would talk to me about the guys that I'm marking and certain things that they like to do. I know Scott, would always throw advice in there with the way I'm defending, or I need to shoot more. I think he told me a lot. I think because when I stopped shooting, he kind of got on me a little bit. Lost it as I got a little bit older, so it was strict defending at that point. But yeah, those three guys, I looked up to the guys that worked their butts off for us in the midfield, like Lee and Danny. Those guys were guys that you looked up to because they worked hard every practice and every game. They gave it everything you had. So I tried to emulate that every time that I stepped on the field. I wanted to give everything that I could. So all those guys, made a great impact on me having, a good success over there with the Blast.
Yeah, again, some great legends there, and Danny and Lee, Hall of Famers themselves. So, yeah, you guys are in great company for sure there. Let me ask you guys another question here. Scott, I'll start with you. Where do you think the most difficult place to play was?
I would say either Milwaukee or Cleveland. I think Milwaukee was always tough because they're always so doggone organized. And then they had, great players like Billy mentioned. They had Reiniger played for him for a while, and Greg Howes was unbelievable in his day. And then you go to Cleveland and have to face against, Hector and Zorn. And it's like, I remember one time, Billy might remember this, in the locker room, we're playing at Cleveland, and one of their guys, I think it was Schweitzer, ended up coming and play with Baltimore. I would have loved to play with him. I think he came the year after I did, but he was winding Dennison up, kept kicking Dennison all over the place. And we started getting it in with him. And we go back to the locker room. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are we kicking him? Go kick Hector. If they're kicking Dennison, go kick Hector.
Right.
And, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that, but that's what I was saying in the locker room. And, Cleveland was a tough place to play. Milwaukee was tough because just the teams were so good every single year.
Yeah. Billy, any other thoughts on that?
I would agree with the Milwaukee. Going there was always difficult to play. They always had great crowds as well. And their team was loaded just like we were. So it was always a great match. But it was difficult to play them. I would say a couple years after 2004, when Monterey came in, it was definitely difficult to go there and play. Typically, they were on the back end of a back-to-back. So we never got the sweeter end of the deal there. But It was like watching pinball with their small arena, and they had very good players as well. So it was difficult to go there and match their intensity in front of their crowd.
Yeah, the Mexican teams are always tough. Even today, they're an extremely difficult place to play. So, yeah, I definitely remember the days in Monterey. Really, really tough place to play. So, yeah, that was a great kind of insight on kind of your guys' thoughts on some difficult places. So, um, one last thing I want to ask you guys. Obviously, huge honor again to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. You're going in with the likes of, you know, Stan Stamenkovich, Kenny Cooper, Mike Stankovich, Billy Ronson, Chinapoo, Danny Kelly, Lee, David Bascom, right? All these greats. Billy, I'll start with you. And again, you're a local kid. How meaningful is this for you to be inducted?
I mean, it means a lot. I think, growing up, my childhood dream was to be a professional soccer player. And I think getting that phone call, knowing that I did everything that I could to put it out there and to achieve what I wanted to do, not thinking that I would make it, into the Hall of Fame, but to win 5 championships alone was good enough for me. But this definitely takes the next step, in achieving everything that I thought I could. And my kids couldn't be more proud, to tell their friends and their teachers. So it's an honor to be with in that class with all those guys, and and Scotty as well. So it's it's something that we're never going to forget, and we should be proud of that accomplishment for sure.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. And Scott, same question to you, right? Going in with the likes of, Van Aaron and Chris Vaccaro and all the great, goalkeepers of Blast Past. How meaningful is this for you?
I mean, I think Billy kind of hit it. I mean, you work really hard as a kid. That's all you ever wanted to do is play. You watch. I mean, heck, I watched Stamenkovich as a kid. I mean, everybody knew him, and now to see some of those names that are in the rafters, the guys that kind of paved the way for us, and then also some of the peers that I played with. It's just it's for me. And Billy hit on this too. My kids are going to come up. I'm going to bring them up on the 30th for the ceremony, and it's just for me. I feel just gratitude more than anything. It's just that I'm honored.
Yeah, I can tell you, I obviously I didn't play. My father played though. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it was very special to have that again, your whole family there and everything. So, guys, congratulations to both of you. Tremendous honor. And I want to remind everyone, March 30th is the Hall of Fame night. So make sure you're coming out. We play Utica that night, 6:05 p.m. start time at TU Arena. Make sure you're coming out. We're going to pack the arena, and we're going to see the 2 newest inductees into the Blast Hall of Fame, and get their names up there in the banners with the greats of past. So with that, guys, thank you for joining me and giving me your time here tonight. And everyone, we will see you on the 30th, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks,
Thanks, Brent. See you, Scott.
See you, Ben.